Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Monday, July 13th. Jim Coyle is with you here. Todd Leary's back in the studio as well. And on the program today, the man of the hour, the golden arm, Mo Creek, who I'm not going to say single-handedly, but hit the game winner to put Sideline Cancer in the TBT championship tomorrow night. Man, how about that, Todd Leary?
Yeah, it was an exciting game. They had, you talk about being an underdog, being the 22nd seed out of 24 teams. That they have obviously shocked the TBT world. That's for sure.
Well, I think the last two teams they've beaten, they've knocked out champions of multiple years. So, and I think that they won 3 out of the last 4. It's been great. It's a good run.
Well, beating overseas elite. I mean, obviously, anyone who's followed the TBT for the 6 or 7 years it's been on knows how dominant they've been, and heck, they've only lost 1 game in I think the 5 years they played it. So they're obviously the front runner of the time. They got Jim Johnson on there, who is an 18-year NBA veteran. It's just everything was going against Sideline Cancer yesterday. And boy, the IU guys stepped up and looked pretty darn good.
Man, I'm telling you, Ramey Amel and Mo Creek have throughout this thing. And Ramey actually had more points than Mo Creek did yesterday. It didn't seem that way, but 14 and 10, I think, was that line for those guys. But the first 2 games – Ramey had 17 and Mo had 13 in both games. So, but it doesn't matter at the end of the game, man. And then how about you've got the Elam ending. Some people talk about that game because there's your kind of an exciting deal. The game was tied, I think. You got 1 shot to make, and it's not the same as a buzzer beater, I guess, but it's pretty cool. Sure as a dagger.
I love the ending. I love the Elam ending and the way this tournament. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want the NCAA tournament to go to it or anything crazy like that. But I love it for sports. It's a way that it eliminates the clock out, and that's just to me it's all the difference. And like this tournament is this.
Right on.
Good.
We're going to check on your
perfect endings.
We're going to check on your signal there. We're it's getting busted up there pretty good. A lot going on this weekend. NASCAR was at Kentucky. Chase Briscoe, they had raced there twice in between since we were on last, I think. But he gets 2 second-place finishes there. A great run by, I forget who won that race, but the same guy wins both of them. But yesterday on the Cup Series, NASCAR Cup Series, rookie from Stewart Haas, I forget his name, but Corey something. But man, a rookie hasn't won in 4 years, which is a cool deal. And then also the PGA event, a tremendous finish. Coming down. Justin Thomas seemingly hasn't won or looks like it, but man, oh man, didn't end up that way.
Oh, it's just, this was a weekend dream come true for people who love golf and basketball and NASCAR and some of that stuff. So, the finish was awesome. It just couldn't have been any better. And there's some unique things. The PGA Tour playing back-to-back weeks at the same venue. That hasn't happened since the 1950s, and just a ton of interesting stuff. As sports come back, it's just, we are just chomping at the bit to anything, and they've given us some good finishes for sure.
Yeah, that's certainly the one thing that was missing that would have made it wouldn't have made a difference on who won, I guess. But can you imagine when they were finishing the regular portion of the game, the match, and Justin Thomas hits like a stupid 12-foot, 50 10-foot break, 50-foot long putt that there's like, yeah, you're not going to hit this. And, oh, my God, he hits it. And then now, was it Yoshihama? I forget his name, but he had to hit like a 40-foot putt to tie him and to go into the playoff. And it's like, wow. Can you imagine the roar that would have went up had Justin Thomas hit that? And then had another kid hit that. That would have been one of the loudest noises at a golf match.
It truly would have. I mean, especially at Muirfield, they've got that incredible setup for the final on 18 and with the huge banking around the green. And there just are always thousands and thousands of fans. And you're exactly right. Like, I've been there to the finals of Muirfield before, and it's extremely loud and fun. And, it's just, it's different that wasn't there. But how incredible was it those guys made those putts? I mean, that was 80 feet of putts on the last hole between those two guys. And Justin Thomas's putt is, 1 in 100 that he'll make those.
Yeah, and then to go out like he did, that sucks. He had made a big mistake. Like, next time I look up, he's like 6 inches behind a tree. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good lay. So he has to punch out and ends up can't catch up. But wow, just a great match, great finish. You don't get that kind of excitement in golf a lot. And wow, last hole, last putts. That's pretty big stuff, man.
Yeah,
Roar the crowd. Would have been awesome.
It would have been. And, this was supposed to be the first week. So coming up, this was supposed to be the first week of having fans back. And you could even see at the event, if you watched it, they had some of the tents and stuff set up for the tournament this week. But obviously they've pushed that back even farther now.
I heard apparently Washington, the NFL team, I guess I'm not even going to say their name, is changing their name at definitive. They're coming out today to definitively say they are going to change the name. Now, they're not saying what they're changing it to. I saw something the other day. It was great. Warriors, the Washington Warriors. You kind of don't have to change a lot.
Yeah.
I think that works for me. We'll see what they do. But, yeah, it's weird, though. I have to say it's weird because I think back of all those times and think about the Redskins, and I don't think about it in a negative manner, but it is, and so it doesn't matter that when I say the name, I'm thinking that or not. It's offensive to a group of people, I guess, and so you have to acknowledge that. So,
well, I mean, think back in the NBA. I mean, when they changed the name of the Washington Bullets,
yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming they changed it from the Bullets because
they were killing people in DC,
right? So, and we don't care that they changed it from Bullets to the Wizards. So I certainly don't care that they would change it. I mean, if it offends anyone, I'm fine with them changing it. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, Bullets didn't offend anybody. They were just killing people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they weren't trying to promote it.
Yeah. So. And how bad is that? That's horrible. How bad is it when crime is so bad in your city, you have to change the name of your team because it's Bullets, just because of crime. Yeah, that's horrible. But yeah. So looking forward to that. Saw some great basketball over the weekend. I saw Trey Kaufman and Logan Duncombe in action. Trey Kaufman has grown. I mean, not height-wise. He's just grown his game. He's bigger, he's stronger. Yeah. His game has matured. You can tell. I'll talk to him afterwards, but looking to just grow the overall aspect of their game. And kids seem smarter today. They seem more, they're better coached today. By that, I mean, people know in the future, you need to be doing this now. And yeah, before you need to be working out and doing all that stuff. But man, it's a different level today than it was 25 years ago or 30 years ago. They seem more polished. I mean, it was, obviously, they are. I mean, these are two high-profile guys, but they're still in high school, and both of them very polished. Especially Kaufman, of course, who's smarter than you, me, and 10 monkeys in a room, and everybody else. But yeah, he's.
But with what you're saying,
smart.
I mean, these guys they're trained in all different aspects. I mean. I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, you know how you are when you're in high school. You're trying to gain weight. Like I weighed 130 pounds.
My dad's trying to gain weight to save me life.
You know what we did? Like we would go to McDonald's twice a day and get 2 double cheeseburgers and milkshakes. Like, that was my way of trying to gain weight. These kids nowadays, I mean, look at the nasty, disgusting stuff I was putting in my body trying to gain weight. These guys have
that the
nutritionists.
school was not only paying for probably, but promoting. Well, you talk about your training table all the time. Was it Steak and Shake?
For sure. And you know, I'm even talking like even before these kids get to somewhere. I mean, these guys in high school you can Google whatever you need, learn how to, you know, learn what to eat to gain weight and gain the right weight and just get in better shape. I mean, there's no question these guys physically are just incredibly bigger and stronger than they were back, you know, 30 years ago. But also it goes with the work you're talking about. I mean, I think if you watch Trey Kaufman nowadays, I mean, he's better than he was a year ago. He's put in the work. His jumper's better. He moves the floor better. He moves without the ball better. Like he's just improved his game all around.
There were times when I was watching him, he reminds me of Trace Jackson Davis. They're very similar body wise. I mean, they're thick. Both of them are thick. Usually high school kids
are
like
crazy.
You just talked
skinny,
about.
Right?
You got to work so hard. Nope, not Trace Jackson came in already built. And Trey Kaufman, he's a man as well. And
you look at the top rankings. Look at the top 25 ranked kids in the country, and you'll see. I mean, there's at least a half a dozen of them that they'll be 6'8", 180 pounds, and you know that they just in that situation where they can't gain weight right now. But when they get to an actual school or the G League or the NBA or whatever it's going to be, they'll put weight on. You know, like that. Like they'll have someone full time that's their job to put some weight on this guy. And Cliff Marshall does a fantastic job at IU with those guys when they get there. I mean, look at the transformation of bodies from freshman to sophomore and junior years of what he does with these guys. It's crazy.
Well, what I was sitting there thinking, now, for one thing, Logan Duncombe definitely needs some strength. He needs to go see Coach Coach Marshall quickly. Now, but what I also thought is when Trey Kaufman sees Coach Marshall, though, this dude, he's, and this is going to sound way over the top because I'm not saying the talent is the same, but LeBron James-esque because they have the same bodies, the same type of skill set as what he's working on to try to get to that shot inside, outside. I'm not saying he is, but that's that 6'8", this super athlete of today. I mean, Can you imagine when we were in school, a guy like LeBron James, 6'8", athletic like that? I mean, I know that Magic Johnson was kind of before his time.
He was tall
and could handle the ball, but LeBron was just like, what? Dude's doing all what?
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Kevin Durant. I mean, if Kevin Durant, because he's so skinny, we don't really put him in LeBron's category. But he's 7 feet tall, and he dribbles the ball down the floor and shoots from 30 feet. And that's just not like normal basketball from what we remember back as a kid. No. So, you know, I think Trey Kaufman physically looks a lot like Trace Jackson Davis, but their games are not very similar at all. Trey Kaufman is much more of an outside, on the wing, run the floor, shoot from the outside, get up and down type player. And I think we all know how strong and physical TJD is.
Before we hit a break, I want to say hey to Leah. She's in recovery and working on some health things. We're thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. So appreciate it. We got a couple of texts into the show as well. We'll get to those. See, Alan says, good to hear you, Todd, this morning. Added a new member to our family this weekend. Welcome, Bailey Hoosier Hughes. It's his new boxer. Tim asked a question that we're going to talk about in the third segment. Could IU play against Peyton Ramsey and Northwestern? The Big Ten has to add
now
a game.
Because they're adding games.
Now it's very possible. We'll get to that. But coming up next, the man who hit the shot last night, Mo Creek, who sent sideline cancer into the championship game of the TBTs, with us up next. Stay tuned. You listen to Indiana Sports Beat with Corey O'Leary coming to you. We're on the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers.
An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Fouls to give. Looking. Creek. Got it! Sideline cancer wins, and they go to the championship.
Tell me that Elam ending can't be exciting. I say otherwise, and Mo Creek does too, as he leads Sideline Cancer into the championship game of the TBT tomorrow night. He did that last night. But Mo Creek, welcome back, man.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having us on, or coming on with us, rather. But Todd's with me as well. Man, those last couple of games, you can tell you guys are playing with a freaking purpose. I mean, the game before, you took a team that was an upset, but you guys were up on them and really kind of handed it to them. And then yesterday, you kind of had to fight through some adversity, but no matter what, was there at the end. What an exciting finish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So what happens, Mo? What happens after a game like that? I mean, I know in general, in years past in TBT, you hit a big shot like that, everybody would have gone out and celebrated. What's the celebration like when you're in the bubble? Like, what do you guys do when you go back after a big game like that?
Well, after every game that you win, you go to the bar and you get a little shot at E&J.
Well, did they limit you to one? After you hit a shot like that, surely you get more than one.
Well, I'm going to take this one. I'm still locked into a goal. So, this is what TBT does for us, and I appreciate that. And it's a team thing as well. So, just happy that, they're doing that for us. How we got a win yesterday against a great overseas elite team and, moving on to the finals.
They're probably going to cut Mo back a little bit. They're not going to give Mo. Mo's been hitting shots, man.
After the game, just because I don't think they really explain it when we're watching it on TV. But so I know that you guys stay in the bubble because you're still playing and you're still going to win. Does a team like Overseas Elite, do they immediately leave after they lose in a game like that?
You're off the island, baby.
Well, I don't know what happened. Joe might have took a private jet and went home, but I think that they would probably stick together as a team. Being honest, I thought they'd stick together instead of the team go to the other site until tomorrow. Probably just probably head home and they'll regroup for next year. They know they were missing a couple of key people and. I guess we needed them to miss a couple of key people.
I mean, we talked about some of these teams having some NBA guys. You just mentioned, I think it's Joe Johnson, wasn't it him? It was a 12th all-time either percentage in three-point shooting, I think from a percentage standpoint maybe, but 12th all-time. And either way, I don't care what the stupid category is. It's three-point shooting, so the dude can put it up. So the competition was getting higher and higher, and, man, you guys have withstood the challenge.
Yeah, and he's an NBA vet. He's so I told him after the game, like, man, you're so savvy, you're so poised, you just make the game easier than what it really can be. And when you play with somebody like that or playing against somebody like that, you learn a lot from the game. I mean, that man is all NBA. He's an elite scorer. He's done it with multiple teams. It is amazing to play against somebody like that and learn from somebody like that. And I talked to him after. He was like, man, y'all don't get tired. He was like, man, I thought we would have got y'all because y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all would play the whole game, but y'all did not get tired. He was like, man, but that's great. He was like, man, the game was great. I appreciate y'all for giving us a great game. Even though we lost, it's just the competition level that brought basketball back. You know what I mean? So to hear that from him and how he just, not salty that he lost, but he was more praising that, we gave him that type of competition. It meant a lot to me.
But it also shows, man, that there's it's like any sport at the highest level. There's a razor thin line between this side and that side, the NBA and under the NBA. There's a ton of guys, yourself included, that are right there, and there's a razor thin line back and forth on that line. And the competition level is that close. Looking forward to that. And how about your boy Ramey, man? He's been playing well too. You guys have been a great duo.
Yeah, Remy's what I call the glue to stick the pieces together because of his heart and his soul. To the team, he's our glue man. And without Remy, none of this is possible. Without any of these guys, none of this is possible. But you got to give a whole rack of shout out to Remy just because of the fact that that man has done so much for his team. He the one that brought me together. Him and Jermaine was the ones that told me to play on this team in the first place, and it started 3 years ago. Jermaine didn't make it with us, for the past couple of years, but for me and Remy to stick together just for the sake of what Jermaine did for us, and for Remy to put on a show like he's doing in this league, that man deserves all of an NBA shot, and he's always going to be that NBA dog that I know he can be. He just never got the opportunity, but he deserves a lot more credit than what he's getting.
Well, Todd, he'll be on with us tomorrow, so let's really – I already hope they win, but I really, really hope you guys get that done tomorrow night because he'll be a lot happier, Todd, when he comes on.
Yeah, no question about that. I've watched the replay several times, Mo, and to me, The shot that you made was awesome. I mean, obviously that's that gamers make those shots, and that's just an incredible shot that you made. But just as impressive to me was you saving the ball from going out of bounds, because there's not a chance in the world I thought Marcus Keene was passing that ball when he went up to shoot it. And when he threw it, I thought it was going straight out of bounds. And your save was as good as the shot that you made, I think.
Yeah, the thing about it was I was looking for him to shoot it, and then when he said the ball slipped and he passed it, he called my name, and it caught my direction to go towards the ball. And I had, having a 6'11" wingspan, I caught it with one hand. I was like, oh man. But then I was like, I knew when I got the ball, I wasn't giving it back out, just because of the fact that I knew it was needed. I knew Burrell had just chased King coming off the screens and stuff like that. And so when he threw it, and Justin Burrell I got another screen from DT, and when Justin didn't show up, and I got this ultra quick release, I said, yeah, this is going up. And when I shot it, I knew it was going in. I had just missed one that went in and out like a couple plays before, and I was mad about it because I think that was the game winner also. And then they tried to get it back out. They got the offensive rebound, but it ended up getting stripped or fouled, stripped, whatever the case may be.
Right.
They had a chance to go down, and by the grace of God, the coach called the timeout because we were at a disadvantage. And so we got our defense back together, and then ET makes a hell of a wall up on Joe Johnson, and then we come back down the other way, and we get one of the best shots that we could have got.
Yep, no doubt. It was awesome. I mean, but I remember, like, I saw that save when it happened live, and I knew it was really quick, and so I went back and watched it, and it was, I mean, you know what happens in that case. The guy goes up to shoot it. He shoots a lot anyway, which is fine because he's a great shooter, but as soon as he shoots, you start to go to the rim to get the rebound, and you're right. Like, you heard something because I saw you kind of step backwards, and the save was as good as the shot that you made, so it was fun to watch, but man, that was big time. Not a lot of guys make that shot.
So now you guys, you got a day off, Mo. You can't go anywhere, so you can't go out to the mall or anything like that as you prepare for a championship. I know you guys will get to do some practice shoot around or whatever, but how do you kill the time other than that? Are you on video games or because you guys are locked away in the bubble? What do you do to kill the time?
I would just stick with my guys. I'll play video games here from time to time. I'll watch my shows from time to time. But the bubble doesn't faze anybody on this team. Some people just can't live without leaving the house. But, I like it low-key because it just keeps us locked into what our job is and what our goal is, So, and for this tournament, having the bubble has had this whole team locked in. One, because we're the underdogs. We were the underdogs the whole tournament. But for two, we have a mission. We have a goal for everything. So, I'm not mad about the bubble. I know a lot of people are like, man, we can't even leave or stuff like that. Or even the case may be about other places. But, you got a job to do. You might want to go ahead and do that job and then worry about everything else later on.
Man, there's a lot you guys get prepared. I could not be happier for you to be in the position that you're in. You could tell at the start of this year that, you guys are always serious, but there was just a different tone this year. And there's been some upsets. And so the bubble seems like it's helped you guys stay more focused.
Yeah, I would think so. This is probably the most focused we've been. We all came with a goal off the rip. So we knew what happened last year with us losing to the Golden Eagles last year. So we had a goal in mind to get to the championship. And for us to be here just shows how locked in we was the whole time that we was here. We took it personal ranked 22 out of 24 teams, so that was kind of disrespectful to us, knowing what we did last year in Wichita. So we already had that chip on our shoulder just because of the fact that they kind of disrespected the committee, kind of disrespected us on that. But just having the bubble kept us more locked in, kept us more together, and, we enjoy being together.
Well, man, we sure do enjoy watching you guys, and we'd like to watch you win one more, and we wish you the best because it's a winner take all. That's the people don't need to remember that this is a winner take all deal, and there's a lot of money on the line. I mean, it was going to be $2 million. It's back to $1 million this year because of COVID, but man, that's a big prize dollar on the line there for you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a big prize. I mean, who can say, other than a rich person, who can say, like, winning a certain amount of big money like that for 2 weeks wouldn't be the way to go? So this is definitely the winner-take-all type thing. I'm excited. This is the team knocked us out last year, so this is just another chip on our shoulder to go out there and get it done. And I know all my guys are going to be ready just because of the fact that we worked so hard to be here. We've done so much to be here. So I can't wait. I know my guys can't wait. Let's just see what happens tomorrow.
Well, I know Hoosier Nation is supporting you guys. I guess Tom Crean's going to have some split allegiances here, Todd. You've got a Marquette alumni team going against Ramey and Mo here. So he's going to have some split allegiances. Have you talked to Coach Crean at all during this deal?
I haven't talked to Coach Crean at all. I don't know if Ramey talked to Coach Crean. He did tweet out to me and just told me, man, he's happy for me and Remy for the work that we're putting in during the TBT tournament. So I just told him thank you. I really do appreciate it. And, I know he's watching.
Well, man, we're all watching, and Hoosier Nation's watching. Everybody wishing you guys the best, supporting you. We hope you bring it back. Remy's going to be on tomorrow, so hopefully we're talking about a championship and not just a hell of a run for you guys. But congratulations, Mo. Great run. Hope you guys can pull it in. And if you do win, we're definitely going to have you guys back on for sure. But great. Best of luck, brother. Let's get this done.
Yes. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for having me again.
Appreciate you joining us.
See you, buddy. Good luck.
Mo Creek joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Yeah, man, I hope they can get that done. They've beaten some really, really good, talented teams. So now it doesn't matter who's there. Anybody can win this game for certain, and that would be incredible.
When you hear Fran Fraschilla and Seth Greenberg and those guys talk about them, they say the same thing every game, and I guarantee you they'll say it tomorrow night. They say if this sideline cancer team can hang around and be close at the end, they got a chance at winning. And the Marcus Keene guy that's on their team, how he's not in the NBA, I know he's 5'9", but he's one of the best players I've seen in a long time. Like, he is so good. I don't know how he's not on a team.
How hard does a 5'9" guy have to work in this game at that level?
Ridiculously. But I mean, he is, it's funny because Mo just kind of explained it and what Joe Johnson said. Like, I think they really thought they would wear Marcus Keene down because he's all over the place. He's so fast. He's so fast with the ball. He goes to the rim. He gets beat up driving all the time. I think they thought they would wear him down, and I think they were shocked at the fact that it got down to the end of the game and they couldn't wear him down. I mean, heck, he made a 28-foot jumper, the second to last possession of the game that, it was as big a deal as Mo's shot that was. I mean, it's just that guy keeps them in the game. And if they're in it with the last, and they get down to the Elam ending, they don't call him, Marcus Elam for nothing. I mean, he is perfected how to finish that Elam ending game.
Absolutely. Before we hit a break, I want to touch on. I meant to talk about this at the top and somehow missed it. But unfortunately, Steve Bushy, he'd had a massive heart attack and was in the hospital. And then I'd heard good things. I thought it was trending in the right direction. And then unfortunately, yesterday it started coming out and we hear that he had passed away. 1979, Mr. Basketball out of Washington, the Washington Hatchets. a great legacy they have themselves. But then goes on, 1980, member of the 1980 national championship team, Bob Knight's second national title.
81.
Or 81, I don't know why I said 80. 81, rather. Thank you very much. That was Louisville in 80. But just one of those names that you hear all the time. You don't hear it like Isaiah Thomas or Calvert, but he's one of those guys that was a member. And when I say member, I don't mean name, a member of a national championship team. Because when you're a member of a Bob Knight national championship team, you more than likely played. I don't care who you are.
Right. Well, and Steve Bushy was one of those guys that – so take the 87 team, for example. I mean, we don't talk a lot about Darryl Thomas, and we don't even talk that much about Dean Garrett and Todd Meyer and some of those guys who played big roles. I mean, they set screens that got Steve Alford open. And Steve Bushy, I obviously grew up a huge IU fan. I mean, Steve Bushy to me, he was an integral part of, the whole machine that happened. And he was just one of those guys that he wasn't flashy. He didn't do anything big, but he did his job. And Coach Knight loved him for that. I know Coach Knight had talked about him numerous times about trying to get Todd Lindeman and different guys to go back and watch films of guys like Steve Bushy who would do all the little things. And man, he was anyone that's on the national championship teams has the respect of everyone else that played at IU.
Those were what a rugged team. Think about that 81 team versus your teams, or even the 87 team.
The 81 team was talented. The 87 team was not that talented.
But think how rugged they were. You got Big Bushy, but you got Risley, those some big old dudes, man.
If you ever shake hands with Steve Bushy, you understand he's not a guy you want setting the screen against you. He's got those big meat hands, and he was just a nice, very quiet guy, but just as nice as I'll get out.
But we hate to be talking about him in the form that he has passed, but thinking about his family, and he's a Hall of Famer, an Indiana Hall of Famer already. So just a great guy and a great legacy he leaves behind. Hey, we got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. We're going to get to it, talk more about the TBT getting going and all that. So we'll be back with more on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday.
Next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money saving, just like FDA approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Monday. Back after a pretty uneventful weekend. There's some sports going on, though. People got to go out and watch basketball. Man, that was my first foray. First of all, that was the first time back in Indianapolis. Or did I go back for one other thing? I went back for something. I was thinking that was the first time back since the Big Ten tournament, since I left that day. I can't remember being there for anything. And then to actually be at an event was weird, because I know you've probably already gone through this with Will and following him along. But we get there, we can't get in. Like, no, I gotta wait. I gotta wait till these games are over. These people are gonna come out because they got to equal. They don't let a certain number of people in, so you had to equal the people. And I had to wait like an hour just to get in. And boy, I was not leaving once we got inside of there. You're on mute, by the way, Todd Leary.
So yeah, it is. I know it's strange with that, but I mean, heck, I had the same thing happen at the grocery store the other day.
You had to wait outside the grocery store?
Yep, I sure did.
Wow.
So I mean, it's just a new heck. But I mean, nobody was mad. Everybody was okay with it. It's just a new way to handle things.
I was watching the AAU games over the weekend. I was up in Noblesville. Where did Will play?
Will played up there in Noblesville. They played up there, but obviously I wasn't allowed to go.
Well, but did they start?
They played else? At the Noblesville. No, they played at the Noblesville Boys and Girls Club. Friday night they had 2 games, and then Saturday they unfortunately lost early. Wow. So
is that where I was? Is that the Boys and Girls Club has batting cages and all that stuff? Yeah, I don't think so. This was a big facility. Had 4 courts, batting cages upstairs, batting cages around the back, soccer.
Yeah, that's definitely not the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh yeah, it's a big facility. They had indoor turf soccer courts on the right, soccer fields. But that's where the championship was released for this event. I think that there was another venue that they played some other games, but
those tournaments are all so big. I mean, they play them. There's like 15 different places they play them. All different age groups play in different places, so it's hard to tell.
But I was talking earlier about Trey Kaufman. I was really impressed. I was much more impressed. The last time I saw him play was like a year ago, and much more impressed with him, with his activity, his desire to get to the rim. Sometimes he'd stand outside to get underneath, rebound, battle. Saw him battle a little bit. Different type of player than I saw him earlier when I'd see in another game. I compliment to him and Logan compliment each other in that situation. So, but yeah, I'm like, man, good players, just good, solid, fundamentally solid, and you know that their ceiling is very high. Both of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with how much I felt like he
But yeah, the importance of a cohesive unit is just it's I don't know if you can even overstate it.
You can't. You can't quantify it.
They did not have anything close to that. It was like half were and half weren't. And when you have that, that's even a bigger chasm because there's already a chasm between some individuals. Well, now you've almost created a group chasm, which is even deeper. And they had that. And you simply cannot win. You can overcome weaker opponents, but you will not beat people who has it on their mind to win when you're not a cohesive unit.
Well, and sideline cancer is a great example of that. You look at the talent level they have right now, and they should not be beating a lot of these teams they're beating. But they, as Mo said a few minutes ago, I mean, they've come in and they all have a common goal. They're all trying to accomplish winning as a team. They don't care, one game Mo's the leading scorer, the next game Keen's the leading scorer, the next game Remy's the leading scorer. It doesn't matter. Like, they don't care. Their goal's to win. And when you look at it in an Indiana team and all of college basketball teams as a whole, I think that's why Michigan State, year in and year out, that's why Tom Izzo is looked at as one of the best coaches, because those guys figure out a way at the end of the year. They all have the same common goal. And that's what this Indiana team, I don't feel like I kind of felt like they were getting to that point. And I hate to say it because, we got stopped because of COVID, but I felt like they were kind of getting to that point where they were, Justin Smith was almost buying in to the whole thing, but now they don't have to worry about it anymore. They've got a full team full of guys that are all, bought into the system and want to get better and want to play together.
Absolutely. And that lends itself that those, you win the game, the close games that are won by those intrinsics. Those are the games you win right there. You win when you have a unit. You cannot win games like that when you're not together. And trust me, it's going to happen more than once in a season, more than twice in a season. And when it happens 3 or 4 times and you get those 3 or 4 wins, especially if you're a team that's like just on that edge, that pushes you over. That makes you a 6 seed, a 5 seed, a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, not a 10 seed. And that's the difference in this team, to me, is that there's a big mountain between a 10 seed and a 4 seed. And, man, they have not gotten even close to that yet. Now I think they're standing on it, and they can fall forward from here forward with the camaraderie they have.
Yeah, and they've got guys that are fun to be around. That's a big difference. When your locker room, when the game's over or when practices are over, more practice. I shouldn't say games because that's different. A lot of times it's late and there's whatever going on. But when practices are over and everybody, leaves the locker room and fingers out and goes in their own different direction, that's not a team that is building that camaraderie and that cohesiveness. And when you got guys that go out to lunch together and, then they go play golf or go to the mall or go do whatever it is they're going to go do, when they do it together, that's a team that's tough to beat. And that's a team that figures out the little things. And, it's this group is that way. And they're going to have some small little cliques, but overall they're a group that likes to be around each other.
I did get to talk to Trey over the weekend, and I'm going to play that real quick before we have to get out of here.
I feel what it is. Getting back, having fun, playing my teammates, getting back to it.
What's it been like, this weird situation that we've all been through, but you guys, you've had just everything interrupted and tried to get back into that groove. What's that been like?
It's been challenging. Definitely been challenging. I'm used to, especially with our school team, playing it all the way out. So it's been hard getting back in shape, getting back with everything. But, I think, team's done a good job. I think I've done a good job. So we're good.
And recruiting-wise, very, very unique situation where most guys can't get to campus. Coaches can't get out now. I know you're in contact with coaches and all that. But what's it been like, the recruiting side of not being able to make these visits and to see these schools?
It's been hard, especially for schools that, didn't get to see me during the season. So, it's been hard for those schools. Some of them have found my number, contacted me. But, other schools, the ones that have, already been recruiting me, it's pretty easy. FaceTime, we have all this technology now. So, it's been different, but another experience. Anything.
That was Trey Kaufman over the weekend talking about various things, but the COVID deal, how that's impacted. No visits. Nobody's going to be going anywhere. Coaches are not going to be going anywhere. The events we were this weekend, I don't know if it would have been normally during a dead period or not, but probably would have been coaches there. They can't see each other. It's not going to – I don't know if that'll impact a guy like that or not, because he's so smart and so cerebral. He's actually really thinking through this process. But I think a guy like that is smart. He's going to figure it out. It may be harder for some other kids. I don't know. I haven't gone through it.
I mean, it definitely will be for some guys. I mean, Trey Kaufman's of the world, he's kind of right on the border, right on the bubble of whether, he could probably pick up a lot more offers. There'll just be a lot of schools that don't really get to see him play. This definitely would have been a recruiting weekend. This is July, this weekend, next weekend, and the following weekend. The last 3 weeks of July are always, open recruiting weekends. There would have been the big national tournaments. I think the big Las Vegas tournament would have been not this coming up week, but the following week. And that's always kind of the, culmination of the summer AAU basketball. And, every coach is there and every school is there. And that's where these guys would have been seen, one last time. And unfortunately, they're not going to have that. For a guy like Trey, he has offers from a lot of big schools. If he were able to be seen on the big stage in front of some big time, other recruits, he would have a million more offers. Whether that works to Indiana's advantage or disadvantage, I'm not sure. But I mean, it's just the reality of the way it is now.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate, but they'll get around it. It's like anything else. You get around it. I mean, it's not like it's the end of the world. We talked about this before. They didn't used to do all this stuff. I mean, hell, Bob Knight didn't do it when he was coaching half the time. I mean, you might get a visit, but it might be, hey, you want to come play for me? Okay, thanks. Pat you on the back, and that's it. But now a lot of bells and whistles, and you got to do that because it's just it's a different world we live in. You gotta play the game and be a part of the parade. And it's kind of what it is. It's like everybody's got to be in the parade. Everybody's got to have a float in the parade. And who's got the best float is basically what recruiting has turned into.
Yeah, you're right on the money with that. I mean, it is recruiting has turned in. There's a lot of guys who are interested in all the hoopla. They're interested in all of and I'm not saying that negatively. They just want, they want to be courted by schools. They want as many schools as possible talking to them. And, it's a big deal to be able to, you see how many guys, every time they get an offer, they tweet out, blessed to receive an offer from such and such. And that's a big deal. I get it. I remember my first offer I ever got. It's a great feeling. You feel terrific about it. So, I understand that and get that. You're right, though. It is just a different world. There's some places that, that just some coaches adapt to it better than others. And luckily for Indiana, Archie Miller is a guy that has bought in 100% to the whole social media Zoom call, and they've got a lot of good facilities to show off in a Zoom call. So they're sitting, I think, on a good side of that.
I was just sitting here thinking, can you imagine, and he could adapt if he wanted to, but can you imagine Bob Knight coaching in this era and now during this deal, during this pandemic of which he's got to sit in front of a computer and recruit kids? And that would just, I can't see that happening.
I mean, here's my analogy of that is he really had trouble adapting in the late 90s. So, and we know the differences now versus then. So
in the 90s, it really showed.
But here's what I'll say on the flip side of that. If he wanted to, he didn't want to adapt.
That's what I said. If he wanted to, he could.
If he wanted to adapt, he would have been the best at it that there was. Like,
he was so smart.
Difference. He was so good and so smart. And I'll put it this way: if he got on a Zoom call, he's intimidating in person. I think everybody who sees him, for whatever reason, even if a kid is 6'8", for some reason Bob Knight looks taller than him. I don't know what it is. He's just intimidating looking. But if you got on a call with him, he's even intimidating on a Zoom call or on a phone call. And so there's something about the way that he talks to you and the way that he explains basketball, and he sounds smarter than everybody else. And so if he had bought in 100% to this, I'll tell you right now, if he had to do things via Zoom call and he bought into it and wanted to do it, he'd have been the best at it there was. I mean, he would have out-recruited John Calipari left and right.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Like I said, if he wanted to do, because he was smart. He was a super smart individual.
In the late 90s, he chose not to adapt to it. It wasn't that he couldn't. He chose not to.
Yeah, the games he won because he was smart, because he relayed that information to his players in a way that worked. But that would be something. But man, it's just good it's good to have some sports back. I know that some of the southern states are really surging, so I want to try to remain positive. I've just got hopes. I've talked about. I know we talked about Will in this season, but I'm really, really concerned with Kylie getting to play their soccer season. They've got such a great team, and it's her senior year. She was crying a month ago just at the thought of it, and I'm like, oh geez, this cannot happen. No, so let's just keep hoping that we all head in that right direction and things work out, because man, you got to wear your mask, people. Wear your mask. It's not a big deal. Wear your stinking mask. It's not a big deal.
I've had COVID. I still wear the mask.
We can talk. I don't know if you want to talk about that. We can talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, people, you got to wear your mask. If you don't, look at what's going on. Look at the states that are surging. Look why they opened up and everybody went crazy. It's not the opening up. It's the going crazy part. It's the not wearing a mask. It's not social distancing. You can act like it's not happening, but the numbers say otherwise. It's happening.
Yep.
Let's just try to do what we can do to get through it, man. I appreciate everybody. It's great having Moa back on today. And, man, make sure you tune in tomorrow night. Let's support them. When that, of course, Remy will be on tomorrow. We'll talk with him heading toward that. And, of course, it's Chronic Tuesday as well. But good to have Todd back as well. And, man, oh, man, let's hope for a TBT victory. But that's not till tomorrow, so we got to – No Monday night basketball, so we'll have to take off.
It's going to seem kind of weird because honestly, like yesterday, I got to watch golf all morning. They moved the tee times up. And then afternoon, I got to watch 2 big basketball games. And it was almost like a normal sports day.
And I added NASCAR into that. I mean, it was just like, boy, and I record that stuff so I could go all the way to like midnight. And I'm like, yes, it's a great day. I'll have to find something to do, I guess. But we'll be back tomorrow with all that. We appreciate you joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com for complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. Lots of stories on there now about this weekend, some sights and sounds. Trey Kaufman, Logan Duncombe. Until tomorrow, for Todd, Jimmy, I am Jim Coyle. Do something nice, say something nice to somebody. I will see you on the radio.